Well, I'm glad to see you made it back. Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk more VA disability on this very fine Tuesday. As always, VA credit attorney Matt Flank. I'm going to kind of calm it down a little bit on this video here. I want to, every now and then, as you probably have seen, if you've seen some of the older videos, especially, I try to answer some common questions. Sometimes they're repeated, sometimes they're not. But I did pull a list from things I've seen and questions I've got again, and a couple of different topics about filing a claim and CMB exams as well. So I want to see if we can kind of address some of those in this video when we talk about VA disability claims and how all of these different questions can be answered with the rules and regulations and the knowledge that I have. Now, if anybody else wants to put in the comments any of their responses or answers to the questions as well, please feel free. If there's more you want to elaborate on them to help any other veterans out. It's always encouraged to share information here on the platform as long as it's not personal information or private information or case-related information, so that we can educate each other in a way to make the process smoother. So let's get down to it. Let's start with the filing of the claim. Here's a few questions I get. How do I file a VA disability claim? I think this is one we've seen, and there's still a good chunk of population out there I don't think are fully aware of some of the benefits that they're potentially entitled to with the VA. And I think this question definitely still comes up. Actually, I know it does. Otherwise, I'll put on my sheet, I suppose. Kind of how do we do that? I get veterans that come in and sit in front of me and goes, I don't know what to do. Help me out. So I'm going to give you some help here too. But veterans, do remember veteranlane.com. We are still taking in new claims for you. Our new claims are free of charge. The law does not allow me to charge you for the new claim. Now, keep in mind though, if we need to appeal, there are charges on the appeals and supplemental claims from there. So how do you file the VA disability claim? So in short, there's a few different ways. You can come talk to me. You can come talk to another accredited agent who's able to file those disability claims for you, whether again they be appeals, new claims, depends on their availability and what they can do for you there. You can also just go down usually to VA office. There should be a public contact team sitting there to help you fill out a form. You can go online to va.gov, log in or create a login there, and go ahead and start the claim process through the website there. That might be the easiest way, so you don't have to leave home, and you can actually just, once you hit that complete button, it'll get uploaded right away. Should be uploaded anyways right away. I'm going to back that up a bit to the VA, and start creating your file from there. But again, you can always come in and get the assistance from an accredited individual. Make sure they are accredited, because we do have accesses to certain parts of the system that allows us to directly upload, allows us to fax if we need be, or where we can do to get there fairly quickly. And we can actually sit down and help you fill out those forms properly and get them to the VA. So think about forms. When it comes to filing a claim, what forms do you need to submit with your claim? Well, this is going to really depend on what kind of claim you're filing. So, for example, if it's a brand new claim and you've never filed one before, you're going to need a 21-526EZ. It's a VA form 21-526EZ. It's going to be a very daunting form. It's very long. It does cover a lot of information. Everybody's going to probably have their slightly different approach on how to fill it out, but there is certain information that is required for the VA to consider it substantially complete, as the law says. So I would say just do your best. If you're trying to do it on your own, give it as much information that you can remember, you can recall, and if you can't recall it, just try not to force it. The VA will let you know if it was something that should have been in there. But a lot of times, usually as long as you get your contact information in there, the conditions that you're claiming and your signature on the form, then you likely should be okay there. Now, if you're filing some sort of appeal, if it's like a supplemental claim, you're looking at the 20-0995. If it's a higher level review, you're looking at the 20-0996. And if it's to the Board of Veterans Appeals, you're looking at a 10-182. Those are the forms you're looking for there. Maybe you've got service connected at 3% or higher, and you're looking to file for dependency, additional money for your dependents. You're looking at a VA form 21-686C. So kind of depends. If you're looking for, again, temporary 100% for individual unemployability or TDIU or IU, there's going to be a couple different forms that could be used in there. There's no real prescribed form for that claim, but I would recommend just starting out with getting the VA form 21-8940 completed. So it really depends on what your claim is, what you're submitting for, what the form is. But those are pretty common ones that we work with back here and that we see. Now, if you get into the survivor benefits and stuff, we're talking about a whole different set of forms. So do know we got some different forms there, but ultimately, yeah, it just depends on your claim. This has always been a popular one. I still get this one constantly. I know I've talked about it a few different times on the channel in different ways, but when you're filing a claim, everybody always wants to know, how long is it going to take my VA claim? How long is it going to take VA to make a decision? It's always a good question. VA is going to tell you that they're working it in the order that they received it. That's what they're going to tell you. But I have seen claims get worked fairly instantly, and some just get stuck and delayed in the system for a long time. I've seen some claims that just need more time to be worked because they do require a little bit more TLC, perhaps some more evidence gathering. Certain things are just, they're what they are when it comes to following duty to assist procedures and stuff. So it's really hard to say exactly how long it'll take, but I always do let everybody know that there is a goal that the VA has. It's about 125 days, if that's still the case. I believe it is. Actually, I think it's written on the one of the inserts you get in your notification letters when they make a decision. It tells you kind of what the goal is there. But last I seen, about 140 days roughly is what the nation is running for completion of claims. So that kind of gives you an idea there. So I always tell everybody, just expect 4 to 6 months. Some claims get easier than others. Some get worked faster than others. And one thing I would really kind of start putting behind that question when I answer it is just to say, hey, faster is not always better. We do uphill a lot of claims that get done really quickly and just pushed out the door and nothing gets reviewed. So faster may not be better. Here's another question that we get for filing a claim. What should I include as evidence with my claim? And yeah, this is a crucial question. It's always a good question that we receive about what type of evidence. So it really depends on the facts of your case. So from an education standpoint, I'll give you some options. I can't say for sure what you need to file because, again, all the facts are different to everybody's case. But you do have the option of filing medical records that you got from a private provider, primary care physician, or that are related to your claim disabilities. You can provide those. If you're unable to get those, you can also provide the VA with a VA form 21-4142 and a 4142A in order to give them authority to go get those records or attempt to go get those records. So you can always file that as a way of evidence. You can always identify any VA treatment records. The VA is going to have to go grab those anyways. So not a whole lot to do there, but I would say as evidence, just any medical records you got that supports your claim, you may want to consider sending over. Maybe you've got copies of your service treatment records or you've got pieces of them. Somehow you obtain those from service. May not hurt to submit those either. Just kind of, again, depends on the facts of your case. You may want to consider providing a private medical opinion or a private exam, a DBQ, and just helping the VA out there so they don't have to bog down the system further in many cases, requesting those exams and having you wait longer for all that. You could also give just lay statements, buddy statements, things that describe observed symptoms, observed injuries, kind of how everything affects you veterans every day. So it really kind of depends on the facts of your case. I know if you're represented by myself and my team here, we're going to go through your file and we're going to explain what we feel is necessary for evidence to submit your claim, and we'll let you know from there what we feel is needed. This is also a question for my last question on the filing a claim section here that we're going to do in this video before I get into the CMP exam questions. Can I file a claim for multiple conditions at once? This is a very popular question as well. veterans, you can always file more than one condition at once. The forms have multiple boxes and continuation sheets in some cases to allow you to file for as many claims as you have to file. I personally, in many cases, we like to file everything at once. We'd like to sit down and really talk to veterans and kind of gather what your conditions are all about, and even find the ones that you're not even thinking about at the moment when you pick up the phone or you walked in here. Because we really want to get everything on the document at once, because one thing I learned from the VA is everything's in one spot. It tends to avoid a lot of confusion. Confusion can easily occur really in the file when you file, say, a 526 EZ for one claim. Say you put 3 conditions on there. A month later you file another one, and then a month later you file another one. Well, now they're all over the file. There's evidence in between them. There's different tracking issues, and we try to avoid confusion. Not that you're not allowed to do that, but just keep in mind as a strategy point. Sometimes better just put them all in one form, anyways. So yeah, you can claim multiple conditions at once. That's really the answer to that. And like I said, I usually prefer that it's done that way. So C&P exams, we got a few different things here. I know probably the biggest question I get is what do I need to do to prepare for my B exam? I think we may have talked about it slightly in a video before, and I'm always going to say just be honest. I see a lot of videos out there saying, here, this is what you need to do. I've even seen stuff from people saying this is what I did at my exam, and I kind of cringe. I'm going to be honest with you, because boy, I feel honesty is the best policy when it comes to a disability claim with the VA. If you need to write some notes down to remember how you felt, or especially like your logs, you want to take those in, or you have other DBQs that you want to take in with you or something, just to make sure that you don't forget to express something to the examiner. Yeah, sure, I get it, and that's not a problem. But when it comes ultimately down to it, I would say there's no real preparation for it. I mean, you're going to see a doctor or a medical provider. They're just going to do their exam, and they're going to give their opinions. And you want those to be as truthful as possible, and sure, make sure you answer the questions and answer the questions that are asked. Don't go into a lot of extra detail, because they've only got so much time. Unfortunately, before the next, they get kind of backed up sometimes with the next one coming in, next veteran coming in. So I'm not going to give you a whole lot on that one, just because I really think honesty is the best policy on that one. But I do get that one a lot, fairly common. So what does happen at the C&P exams? This is kind of a question, really kind of part of the other question, I suppose. But I think this is a very good question, actually. I mean, these C&P exams, or these compensation exams, aren't quite always like what you would probably go through in your normal care, primary care visits. But they're not really a whole lot different either. I mean, I'm going to tell you in short what's going to happen is, depending on the type of exam, right? But if it's a mental health exam, there's going to be a series of questions the provider's got to follow. They've got to ask. They're going to be observing you and taking notes. That's the way the exam works. So that's really what happens there. You sit there and you go through a series of questions and you answer the questions to the best you can. If you're usually like a joint condition, that's where they actually have to do some examination, some range of motion testing, some movement, use the little protractor looking gizmo to say, yeah, that's where the range of motion ended, or where it started, and so forth there. So it kind of depends, but for the most part, a lot of the C&P exams are just going to be whatever tests need to be ran, what little exams need to be done, and if there's any, and you're going to be answering a lot of questions. Could take a few minutes, could take an hour. Kind of depends on the exam. Depends on the exam there. So it's kind of really what happens in the background in a nutshell, without getting into too much detail on each one individually. Now I get this one. Of course, I get these a lot. That's why they're put together. But what should I do if my B exam was rushed or unfair? So we have ran into situations many times where or veterans that I represent will come to me and say, hey, my exam only lasted 5 minutes. What the heck? I felt really rushed. No one listened to anything I said. There was no questions asked. And we hear all kinds of different things like that. I'm not going to say that that makes for a bad exam all the time. Sometimes some examiners just are really on top of things, and they know what's in the evidence, they know what they got to do, and they can do it fairly quickly. Bedside manner wise, yeah, it may feel very uncomfortable, but I'm not going to say it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm not going to say it's necessarily unfair of an exam at that point. But I'm also going to say that the way I'm going to answer that for you is I'm going to tell you to give me a description of how that exam went in your own words and how you felt about that exam. And then it could be something we consider just filing into the VA to put on record to let them know that, yeah, the exam may have been rushed, because if the exam comes back really bad, yeah, then that rushed part was probably your issue. So we want to make sure the VA is aware of that. So that's something you can consider, just providing a short, brief statement. Trying to get too aggressive in it, just kind of point out the facts. Unfair. Now we've seen, I guess we can call it kind of unfair. We've seen things like this where a provider refused to see a veteran and marked him as a no-show with the veteran standing there. Yeah, something like that happens. Definitely, it goes back to giving a statement, telling your side of the story of kind of what happened in short detail, and letting the VA know about it. Many times if you have a representative like myself, we're going to document the records, and we may even, if we feel necessary, depends on the situation and how things went down, we may even file necessary complaints in order to address the issue and hopefully have the issue corrected in the future. But ultimately, I would say if you feel like the exam was rushed or unfair, just make a short statement, make sure the VA has it. Again, it depends on the facts of your case. Do I have to attend a CMP exam to get approved? This is always a great question. So this is going to be very fact situation. This is going to be basically very, I can't say for sure on your case in this video. But I'm going to say the general answer is going to be yes and no. It's going to depend. I'm going to give you that lawyer answer. It depends. You know, that famous answer I learned in law school. It depends. It's going to depend. There are times that veterans in your claims that you're going to need to attend that exam in order to get approved. It's just going to be required. There's going to be information that's required in there. Now, not all the time. Sometimes the evidence has enough to go ahead and get you at least service connected, and really what that exam would have done is give you a current evaluation, a better current evaluation. And if you didn't go to that exam, then it's not necessarily that you're going to get denied or you're not going to get approved. You just may not get approved for the best evaluation. Now, unfortunately, I do see the VA still deny service connection when they say they don't need the exam and they only need it for an evaluation. So we do have problems there. So sometimes it's easier just go ahead and show up. And that way, maybe we can avoid an error from the VA. But I guess the ultimate answer is it does depend. It depends on the facts of your case. Maybe you've already provided a DBQ that's adequate. If it's adequate, no, there's no exam needed, so you wouldn't have to, in theory, show up for a VA exam in order to get approved if that information is already there and it's adequate. But keep in mind, it is, again, possible based upon your facts that you would have to show up for one because the evidence may just be missing certain requirements, and the exam is going to fill in those gaps for you there. The last one I have for the CMP exams that I've broken out of my common questions here is, can I bring outside medical opinions to my exam? I'll tell you, I have not hesitated to tell veterans to take that outside medical opinion or that DBQ to a VA exam. If you did one and you decide to go to that exam because you don't know for sure if it's a legitimate request or not, I say take it with you. I'm always going to tell you take it with you. Now, whether that examiner reviews it and takes it from you, I don't know. Now, they should already have it from the VA exam, but I say take it from you or from the VA file when the exam was requested, but I don't like to take those chances. So I'm going to tell you that yes, take it with you. But that's going to be my recommendation in pretty much all cases. But to answer the question, yes, you can. You can choose to bring that stuff. Now, whether it gets reviewed by the examiner or not, or copies of it get taken, that's kind of up to them. That's their choice. But I don't think it hurts to give them more information to to understand your claim. But don't bring in like packets of like files and folders. But yeah, sure, if you have another medical opinion or DBQ, why not? Why not let them see it, make sure they got it so they can understand what is already in your record. So there you go, veterans, BA, and everybody watching. Hey, that's just a few of the common questions, a little bit more lighter. Today on the video, instead of getting deep into a lot of the weeds, I like to do this occasionally, just kind of give that calm moment and kind of reinforce some of the stuff that we've maybe even talked about already. But yeah, it's interesting to me. I still get a lot of the same questions over the years. Then I get new questions too. Like I said, I think I'll never get the question of how long does it take. That's going to be a popular one all the time, but we can talk about it all the time because that time frame will definitely move and change. So even if the questions seem to be the same, you never know. The answer might be a little different by the time the video is made. So I'm always glad to do this, help out veterans and help VA understand the other side of the table as well so they can make adjustments. And we can ultimately make this a smoother situation. Veterans, if you do have any other questions about your claim in particular that arises and how to handle that, if it's an appeal or just filing a new claim, say you want to get an idea of what evidence to provide, hey, we're happy to represent you. We're here to help. We're not from the government. Again, one of my bad jokes. But we're definitely here to help. Our team is here to review all your files, give you that advice if we can represent you, and really walk you through your whole claim process and answer all your questions at that point. So feel free to go to veteranlane.com if you so desire to get that additional help, and we can definitely sit down and chat and see what we can do. All right, with that, everybody, thank you again for being here, talking about VA disability on this terrific Tuesday. We'll see you next Tuesday.